Today, we're going into a world where sound was, well, it was power. We're talking about the role of music in ancient Greece.
That's right. And we often think of their marble statues, their philosophy.
Epic poetry, things like that.
Exactly. But our mission for this deep dive is to see how their whole civilization was really organized by music. It wasn't just background noise.
Not at all. It was this foundational pillar that shaped everything from education to how they functioned as a society.
Okay, so let's start with the big picture right away. You really need to throw out the modern idea of music as just a leisure activity.
For the Greeks, it was essential, woven right into the fabric of daily life.
You'd find it everywhere. Funerals, weddings, any social gathering.
It was also a huge connector, right? A kind of universal language.
A universal language that could, bridge the gap between rich and poor. It was for everyone.
But the reason it was so important goes way deeper. They saw it as divine gift.
A gift from the gods, yeah. Something that brought harmony to the human soul.
And crucially, they believed it had ethos.
Which means it could actively influence your character, your behavior.
So if you listen to the right music, it could literally make you a better, more disciplined citizen.
And that idea is exactly why it was at the core of everything.
Which I guess is why they put it right at the heart of their education system.
Absolutely. For a young Athenian boy, learning music was just as important as learning to read or write.
So if you couldn't play an instrument or sing, you were considered, what, uneducated?
Ill-educated, exactly. Lacking the basic tools for a proper civic life.
Wow. And this wasn't just about singing a few songs, was it?
Oh no, this was intense, rigorous training. It was designed to build mental discipline.
How so?
Well, students learned to play stringed instruments, but mainly to accompany their own singing.
Ah, so it's about coordination.
It's total coordination. You're learning complex scales, holding a tune, keeping a rhythm. They saw it as a workout for the mind, a way to create balance.
And they used it for memory, too, which is fascinating. It was like the ancient world's ultimate mnemonic device.
It was. Students would spend hours practicing scales to help them memorize history or, these incredibly long poems.
The melody and rhythm must have just burned the information into their minds.
And they saw a direct line between that mental discipline and physical discipline. Music training was always paired with physical education.
A healthy body and a healthy mind.
Two sides of the same coin for them. A balanced citizen needed both.
And you see that focus on rhythm applied outside of school, too, like with athletes.
Right. Athletes would train to the sound of flutes. It wasn't for motivation, not really. It was to keep a steady, reliable rhythm in their movements.
It physically governed their actions.
And there's no better example of that structure than in the military. Soldiers marching into battle.
The music kept them organized.
It kept the entire formation moving as one. A tight, ordered line. That structure was vital for the whole city-state, the polis, to function.
And this all ties back to the gods, doesn't it? The reason they invested so much in this is because they didn't even see music as a human invention.
Not at all. It was fundamentally divine. I mean, the very word music that we use today.
It comes from the muses.
The 9 daughters of Zeus, yeah. And each muse represented a different branch of the arts and sciences. Poetry, dance, history.
So music was seen as inseparable from all knowledge.
Exactly. And the main god of music was Apollo, god of light, reason. He's almost always pictured holding his lyre.
But the story of the very first instrument is maybe even more interesting.
The Hermes legend. It's a bit strange.
God.
The story goes that he created the first lyre, and he made it from a tortoiseshell for the body.
And cow guts for the strings.
And cow guts for the strings. It just emphasizes this belief in the raw, natural power of sound.
A power so great it created legends like Orpheus.
The ultimate musician. His skill was so incredible, his songs didn't just move people.
They could charm wild animals, make trees move.
And even persuade the gods of the underworld. I mean, that tells you everything about the reverence and maybe even fear they had for sound.
And that's why hymns, these special songs, were so central to their religious festivals. It was a direct line to the divine.
A way to honor those creators of harmony.
Now, when we look at the instruments themselves, there's this fascinating split. It's not just a choice between a guitar and a horn.
No, it's a whole philosophical battle. You have the lyre versus the aulos.
Okay, so let's start with the lyre. This is Apollo's instrument.
Exactly. The instrument of order, of reason, of calm logic. It was without a doubt the most respected instrument, especially for the educated classes.
And it was pretty simple in its design, right? A wooden frame or a shell with strings.
Very simple, and you'd pluck it with your fingers or a small pick called a plectrum. The sound was soft, controlled.
The kind of thing you'd play while reciting epic poetry.
Precisely. It's the instrument for Homer's Iliad. It demands control. There was a larger professional version too, the kithara.
Okay, so the lyre is intellect and restraint, which means the aulos is.
Its complete opposite, its wild cousin. The aulos was the instrument of raw, unbridled emotion.
It's a woodwind, isn't it? With two pipes.
Two separate pipes, yeah. With reed mouthpieces, the player had to blow into both at the same time.
That sounds incredibly difficult.
It was. They often wore this leather strap around their face, the forbeia, just to support their cheeks and maintain the air pressure.
And the sound was not subtle.
Not at all. It was loud, piercing, sharp. If the lyre was reason, the aulos was pure passion. You'd hear it at big public festivals, athletic games, in the theater.
But wasn't it seen as a bit dangerous?
Yeah.
Too emotional?
Some thinkers, like Plato, definitely worried about it. They thought it promoted a kind of wildness. But it was hugely popular. Skilled aulos players were basically celebrities, highly paid professionals.
Of course, none of this works without rhythm. We can't forget percussion.
The heartbeat of the song, it provided the steady beat for dancers and for religious processions.
What kind of instruments are we talking about?
Things like the tympanin, which was a frame drum, almost like a tambourine you'd hit with your hands, and bronze cymbals.
And dancers use rattles, right? This is stemma.
They did, to emphasize their movements. But the key thing is, percussion was rarely played alone. It was the foundation that allowed the other instruments to build on.
And that foundation was absolutely crucial for public life, especially in the theater.
Music was fundamental to every single play. You just couldn't have Greek drama without it.
The chorus would sing and dance between scenes.
To explain the plot, to give moral commentary, to tell the audience how to feel, the playwright had to be a composer just as much as a writer.
And here's an amazing fact. Those massive open-air stone theaters had such perfect acoustics
Unbelievable acoustics.
that even a soft song from the chorus could be heard perfectly at the very top.
Incredible engineering. And outside the theater, religion and music were just inseparable. They wrote hymns specifically to praise the gods during rituals.
And they had specific types, like the paean.
A song of thanksgiving, usually for Apollo. But music also had a very practical role during sacrifices.
To mask the unpleasant noises.
Exactly. To keep the atmosphere holy and reverent.
And of course, where there's music, there's dance, the physical expression of rhythm.
Which they saw as healthy, great for coordination. And group dances were a huge social activity, a way to build community bonds.
So who are the people making all this happen?
Professional musicians. These were experts who spent their entire lives perfecting their craft. They were the superstars of the day.
Wearing elaborate clothes, being recognized everywhere.
And their status was huge. They competed in massive cultural events, like the Pythian Games at Delphi.
So a music competition was on par with an athletic one.
Absolutely. Winning a music competition brought you as much fame and honor as winning a wrestling match.
And the prize wasn't a gold medal.
No. It was a wreath of laurel leaves. That tells you everything. The artist was held in the same high esteem as the greatest athlete.
Okay, now we have to shift from celebrity to, well, pure science. Because the Greeks were the first to study music mathematically. Let's talk about Pythagoras.
Right. This is where it goes from art to mathematics. We know him for his theorem about triangles, but his work in music was maybe even more revolutionary.
He figured out that the length of a string determines its pitch.
He did. And he found that simple whole number ratios, like 2-to-1, created these perfectly pleasant consonant sounds.
Which is what we now call an octave.
That 2.1 ratio is the octave. This was a mind-blowing discovery. It linked the beauty you could hear with your ears to the pure logic of numbers.
And that led them to organize sound even further.
Into a complex system of scales they called modes. Each mode had its own unique mathematical structure.
And each one was believed to create a specific emotional effect.
Exactly. Some modes can make you feel calm, others brave, some might even lead you to feel decadent. It was prescriptive.
And then they took this idea of mathematical perfection and applied it to everything.
To the entire cosmos. They believed the universe itself was organized according to these same musical proportions.
This is the music of the spheres.
A music of the spheres. The idea that as the planets moved in their orbits, the ratios of the distances between them created a perfect, silent, cosmic harmony.
Wow. So this scientific approach to sound really gave them the tools to understand their entire world.
It did. So what does all this mean for us? I mean, even though we don't know exactly what their music sounded like?
We still use the vocabulary they gave us, words like melody, rhythm, harmony, orchestra. They're all Greek.
They are. And their core idea that music deeply affects the human mind, that it shapes our character and should be a vital part of education.
That's a powerful concept that's still being debated thousands of years later.
It's a reminder that great art is always tied to science and philosophy.
Good luck with your studies.